There is nothing without a reason. The present is big with the future. He who does not act does not exist. This is the best of all possible worlds. Why is there something rather than nothing? Every feeling is the perception of a truth. Nothing is necessitated whose opposite is possible. He who hasn't tasted bitter things hasn't earned sweet things. Music is a calculation which the soul makes unconsciously in secret. As far as we are capable of knowledge, we sin in neglecting to acquire it. Music is the hidden arithmetical exercise of a mind unconscious that it is calculating. Nothing is in the intellect that was not first in the senses, except the intellect itself. For all bodies are in perpetual flux like rivers, and parts are passing in and out of them continually. If you could blow the brain up to the size of a mill and walk about inside, you would not find consciousness. Imaginary numbers are a fine and wonderful resource of the divine intellect, almost an amphibian between being and non-being. For I hold that it is only when we can prove everything we assert that we understand perfectly the thing under consideration. Perceptions which are at present insensible may grow some day. Nothing is useless, and eternity provides great scope for change. There is nothing in the understanding which has not come from the senses, except the understanding itself, or the one who understands. The means of obtaining as much variety as possible, but with the greatest possible order, is the means of obtaining as much perfection as possible. It is unworthy of excellent men to lose hours like slaves in the labor of calculation, which could safely be relegated to anyone else if machines were used. I have so many ideas that may perhaps be of some use in time, if others more penetrating than I go deeply into them someday, and join the beauty of their minds to the labor of mine. It is the knowledge of necessary and eternal truths that distinguishes us from the mere animals and gives us reason and the sciences, raising us to the knowledge of ourselves and of God. If geometry were as much opposed to our passions and present interests as is ethics, we should contest it and violate I but little less, notwithstanding all the demonstrations of Euclid and Archimedes. The mind is not only capable of knowing innate ideas, but further of finding them in itself, and if it had only the simple capacity to receive knowledge, it would not be the source of necessary truths. The mind leans on innate principles every moment, but it does not come so easily to distinguish them and to represent them distinctly and separately, because that demands great attention to its acts, and the majority of people, little accustomed to think, has little of it. This interconnection or accommodation of all created things to each other, and each to all the others, brings it about that each simple substance has relations that express all the others, and consequently, that each simple substance is a perpetual, living mirror of the universe. Nature has established patterns originating in the return of events, but only for the most part. New illnesses flood the human race, so that no matter how many experiments you have done on corpses, you have not thereby imposed a limit on the nature of events, so that in the future they could not vary. It is true that the more we see some connection in what happens to us, the more we are confirmed in the opinion we have about the reality of our appearances. And it is also true that the more we examine our appearances closely, the more we find them well sequenced, as microscopes and other aids in making experiments have shown us. And just as the same town, when looked at from different sides, appears quite different and is, as it were, multiplied in perspective, so also it happens that because of the infinite number of simple substances, it is as if there were as many different universes, which are however but different perspective representations of a single universe, form the different point of view of each monad.